Hey everybody, we're just kind of giving another couple of minutes there for anybody that's still joining, and then we'll kick it off. Thanks a lot. Okay, perfect. So we might just kick it off there. So thanks everybody for coming to today's session on grading and feedback in Canvas. So I'm Lauren Maher, I'm Technical Officer in the Department of Technology Enhanced Learning. I'm joined today by my colleague, Derek Oakley, as he's going to be online. If anybody has any questions, you can pop them into the chat, the Q&A section, or if you're on YouTube, you can pop them into the chat section there as well, and we'll get back to you either throughout the session or we'll have questions at the end. So yeah, we'll just kick straight into it. So things we're going to look at today. So it's obviously everything related to grading and feedback. So we have the grade book. We'll have a look through some of the settings, so submissions and where to find results. We have Speedgrader then, so we'll have a look at that and the different interfaces there and how you can provide feedback inside Speedgrader. We're going to have a look at Original. So this is our plagiarism detection software. So we're going to have a look at how to access the reports and how to interpret the reports in there. We're going to have a look at then the quizzes and looking at some of the results in the quizzes section there and how to the moderate section all in there. And then we're going to have a look at how to release your results correctly then. So we're just going to kick it off. So the first thing we go into is the gradebook and Speedgrader. So I'm just going to open up here. This is my course that we use in the TEL department for our training section. So our training session, so it might look a little bit familiar. The typical layout for your homepage is, or your unit page could kind of look like this. It'll show you the units and the different things you have on this week. And you could have your recent announcements here. So it might look slightly different, or you might have yours laid out a different way. That's no problem because you can just use your side here to get to your different menu items as well. So the first thing we're going to go through is our gradebook. We're going to click into the grades here and just going to open up our gradebook. So what we can see inside the gradebook here, we have the option obviously to search by student. We have this different view option. We can arrange it, set filters, just kind of display that how we want. We have a couple of different actions there, so we can import and export, and then you can change here to have a look at the individual gradebook, or you can just keep it in this layout the way I have it here. And then also we can have a look at our assignments there as well and search the different assignments that we need. We also have here is our settings. So this is our settings for the grade book. So you have your late policy, you can set that here, and you have your grade posting policy. So I'll come back to that at the end, just to kind of point out that's your settings for your grade book over here. And then so we might notice then how it's laid out. So we have our student names all in this column here. So depending on how many students are enrolled on the course, you have a long or short list there. And then in each column, we also have our different assignments or quizzes that are set up per column. So what we can see here is that we have this one here. So this is one of our assignments and everybody submitted and got 100%. This is our original assignment. So this is an assignment set up using our plagiarism detection software. And we can see the results there for anybody that submitted and so on and so forth. A common question that we sometimes get is that something's not showing up in a column, that there's an assignment or a quiz missing. Typically that's just because there's so many, it can just go along for a while. So if we just take the cursor there and move to the end, you can see all the different assignments and quizzes that are set up. You can also see the status of them, whether they're published or unpublished. And then you can see if they're weighted. So if they have a weight put against them, 60% of the grade, 30% of the grade, and so on. And then at the end there, you have your total per student. So you can see here, whatever the total is, it'll just add up in that column there. So another thing that you can do is you can manually adjust the grades. So if I just bring us back here, and so this is a quiz here. So just say, for instance, if I manually went through Niall's quiz and I awarded him some extra marks for some questions or answers that I thought he needed, I could just click on that there and increase that percentage or decrease it however I see fit. So that's just how you can manually adjust the grades inside the gradebook. Some other things that I just want to show you then is that for each of your assignments or quizzes, you can see here in the column, you've got your 3 dots. So this is just to open some additional options. So if I just click on that there, I can see I got a whole load of different options. So I can sort them here from whether missing, late, high to low, low to high. I can open the Speedgrader directly from in here. So I'm going to come back to that in a couple of minutes. We can message any of the students who. So this is useful. You can use this to message students who haven't submitted yet, who haven't graded their submission yet, or if they've scored less than or scored more than. So that's just an easy way to send out a group message for anybody who has anybody that comes under this option then. So some other things that you can just do in there is you can set your default grade. You can enter your grades then if you want to use pointer percentages. You can do that from in here. Another thing you can do then is you can download your submissions. So for instance, if I want to be working on these offline, or if I wanted to manually be annotating them or anything, so I can just download them there. It'll put them into a zip file for me there and it'll download it. So you can see it's downloading down here for me. And once I'm happy with that then, if I've worked on them, put some comments and feedback there, I can go back into this option and I now have the option to re-upload those submissions, and I can re-upload them with any of the work that I've done offline too. And we also have here a grade posting policy as well, but I'll come back to all of that then at the end. So that's just kind of a quick overview of the grade book there and what we can do with it. Another thing then that I just want to show you from inside the grade book. So we can see here that there's some flags here. Okay, so these are because this is an original assignment, so it's just very quickly giving me an indication of whether it was a high plagiarism score or a low plagiarism score. So obviously green is good for a very low plagiarism score, red is, it's flagging up that's a high plagiarism score. So another thing we can do here is if we click in here and we get this this little button here, so this comes for no matter where you are, whether or not it's an original assignment or not, this comes for any assignment. So if I click on this, I'm going to show you in the original assignment just to give you an idea. I can set the status here. So for anybody that would have a late submission, I could click that. It'll just very quickly show me that it's been late, how many days, missing or excused, or I can set it back to none. So that's just kind of give you a quick indication. It gives you the grade there obviously as well. And then we have the option and open in Speedgrader. So that's the next thing that I'm going to show you then is how to use Speedgrader and how to find and give feedback inside Speedgrader. So this is one of the first ways that we can get into it. So we can open it here again. That's just by going into any of the assignments, open up this little side window, and I can open Speedgrader from here. So we'll just go in there. Just gonna let that load up there for a second. So as you can see, while we're just waiting on it, we got all these options here at the top. So these are useful for a variety of different things while giving your feedback. So if I just go down, so this is just obviously this is not a real assignment. This is just that we uploaded the team kind of just when we were testing things or if we were doing training. So obviously this is our assessment guidelines handbook. So just kind of give you an idea then. So you can see here there's been some comments added already. So to do that, all we need to do is we can pick one of our tools up here. So I'm going to pick our highlighting tool. I can pick a color that I want to use to highlight it, and I can highlight anything that I need to. And then I can see here I have this little pop-up ask me if I wanted to add a comment. So you could just write anything there. Obviously, I'm just giving small little examples. We prefer you to give a bit more detailed feedback. And again, so that's just things that you can add in. You can add in a bit of text there. If there was something that you didn't agree with, then you could use the strike through option there. Sorry, do I here? So let's just give you a quick indication. Then you could say. not relevant, etc. Something like that, you know. So that's just a different thing. You also have this button here, so we can drop like a point annotation on it. So if I needed to just drop a point there, give some feedback here. And we can see here, so the point is left there, so they can go and see what that different bit of feedback there was as well. So that's just a couple of different ways then that you can give the annotation. Obviously, you can freehand draw it then as well, or you could just add some text where you needed to. But again, that's just probably the easiest way that you can go through in the Speedgrader, highlight some text, add some comments as you're going through and mark stuff out. So the next thing then I just want to show you in here is that you can add an assignment comment. So this is any comments that you have for the overall whole document that's been submitted. You can just put them in there. You also have the options then you can upload a file attachment immediate, or you can use the speech recognition there as well. And you also have the option to download the submission comments. So it's just a variety of things that you can do while inside Speedgrader to give some feedback to the students there. So the next thing then that I'm just going to go through to, so we've gone through the Speedgrader and the gradebook there. We've gone through how to add some feedback. So the next thing that I'm just going to go through with you now is some original reports. So just to very quickly give an overview there, I'm just going to come back in here. When we're creating up our assignments, I'm sure everybody kind of knows this at this stage, but just very quickly to show you, once you go in to make your assignment, you put in all your relevant details, your points, things like that. Then the next thing that you can do is you can set the plagiarism onto it, okay? So once you have the assignment set up that you want to use the plagiarism, the original. So sorry, just to do that then I'll just set this up just so you can see it. So just put your description in there. We have our point set up. Percentage is fine. We do want to point towards the final grade. That's fine. And our submission type. So we want to change this to online, and it's going to be a file upload. So once I click that, and once I've changed it to online and a file upload, I then get this option here to add plagiarism review. So I can leave that with unlimited attempts there. I'm going to click original as my plagiarism detection tool. This is our one by the college, and then I'm giving these extra little options here. So do we want the students to be able to submit anonymously, and do we want to save the documents that are submitted into original? So you would tick this box if you don't want to save the documents. So if it was say practice submissions for a thesis, or practice submissions or draft submissions, you would tick this so that it wouldn't save into the originals database, and that it won't flag up then on the second submission, if that makes sense. And then we also have the option here. We can show the reports to students immediately after assignment is graded, or after due date, or never. So once you're happy with that, then you can save it out, and then students are able to upload their work, and it'll get ran through our plagiarism detection software. So once we're in here then, so once we're inside the Speedgrader, so this is an assignment that was uploaded through original. And how do I know that from a very quick glance? Well, I can see here. So I have this little extra option if it's an original assignment, and this is telling me the similarity score from the original plagiarism detection. So you can see here that it's 97.72%, so it's quite a high plagiarism score. So all I need to do is I can just open that. Just going to open it in a new tab because I'm going to jump back into the Speedgrader in a second, and that's just going to open up original for me there as well. So what I might do is go to the next one. So to get to the next person's submission, I can just use these arrows up here so I can see I'm on my own submission for this. I'm going to go next. I can see Mary Sullivan. I see Roisin as a high one. I was looking for Niles. There we go, because Niles has a low similarity score. So just to show you that difference there, that's an 8.8. So I'm going to do the same that I've done there, and I'm going to open this one too and have those side by side so I can show you shortly what they look like. So we're now inside of the original plagiarism detection software. And so I've opened up my one. So obviously it has quite a high plagiarism score. It has 98% is plagiarized from this. So obviously it's just something that I took down. It was one of our own PDFs that we created. It's online, so obviously it's flashing up. So what I just want to show you about this, one of the first things that you just have to say about original is that it's just more of a guide. So anything that comes up in original, it needs to be reviewed. You need to go in there and just double check all of the different things that are flagging up, because again, it's never 100%. It's basically to give you an indication of any text that's shown up that has matching text somewhere else online, but you still need to go in and review it all and ensure that it's correct. It can never just be taken at face value, if that makes sense. So when we first come in, the first thing we see is this analysis overview here. So this is going to show us how many pages are flashing up with plagiarism or matching text, and it'll show us where. So you can see here this whole block. So it's saying the whole first page, it's coming up as matching text from somewhere else on the web. Same with the second. You can see on the third, we have these paragraphs here, so on and so forth until we get to number 9. We can see that last paragraph there, and the rest of the page seems to be okay. So this just gives you a very quick overview. So just to kind of compare that to Niall's then, with very low similarity score. So his is only 9%. And we can see here, there's a couple of lines at the end of page 3, a couple of lines through page 4 there, and a paragraph or 2 there in page 5. So that's just to very quickly give you an indication of where it's flagged up and when. So what you can do then is you can click on this box here, on the orange box, and it'll show you the matching block there. So it's showing you the text there that's been flagged up as a potential plagiarism, and it's given you then the source, and it's saying there's 25 alternate sources as well that it's coming up. So it was found on telcit.ie. So what we can do then, if this, for instance, is something that you've read through and it could be something small, you think that actually doesn't match as plagiarism, I wouldn't include that in my analysis. So what I can do is I just click this button here, and that'll turn off that analysis. So you might have seen there in the background, this jumped down a little bit too. So you can make your score, or make the student score a little bit more on point, just by going through a little bit more accurate, and to try go through and wean out what is and what is not plagiarism. So that's the first part here in the analysis overview. We then also, something I want to point to, so I've kind of spoke about a little bit already, is we have this similarity bars here. So it's telling me in this document now, there's 72%. And the receiver's average is usually around 21%. So that just gives me a very quick indication of whether or not, it's kind of the normal amount is flagging up. And just to give you a little bit more of an example there, just to bring us back into Niall's one, we can see that this document has 9% and the receiver's average is 21. So, we're below average. So fairly happy with that. We can go in, have a read through and see what's flagging up. So I can see this is numbers that's flagging up. So I don't need to include that in my analysis. The same thing there, I can turn those off. And I'm pulling this down then slightly to make it more accurate. The next thing here that we have is our findings section here. So you can click into this. It's telling us, there's 8 instances of matching text and whether or not we have any warnings. And we can also then view the entire document there. So we can click over here. And what we can do is we have some of these options. So we can include anything in quotes or brackets there. So anything in quotes the minute is turned off. But if I wanted to turn that on, just click it there. And then so what we're doing here is we can see this is our submitted document. And here's where I found the matching text. So you can see it's exactly the same, and it's telling us the source there where it's found it. So it's from TEL-CIT. And then so once we're happy enough with that, we can just go to our next highlight and continue that way. And again, if this isn't something that I think should be included, I can turn it off there as well. So you just go through that way and really then getting a more accurate idea of the potential plagiarism that has been flagged up here. So you can also see then the variety of sources, and you can check then the entire document here as well. So I think that's everything just there that I wanted to show you in the original, how to find your scores and how to make them as accurate as possible. Obviously have the student submission details here as well. So once I'm happy enough with that, then I can leave original and go back into my Speedgrader, or I can head back then into the next person's submission and continue on so forth. So on and so forth. You can add some comments the same. So one of the last things then that I'm just going to show you is your quiz submissions and the moderate section in there and how to adjust scores. So I'm just going to go back. That's brought me back into my gradebook here. So I'm just going to go into the quizzes section. And I can see here my quizzes that I have. So I can see here I've only the one published at the minute. This is the one that I'm just going to show you. So if I wanted to get into the builder area, I could click on here, or I could click on this 3 dots. This is a fairly new added button and it saves a lot of time. So I can just click in there. And now I'm inside the build area. So I can see I've made my quiz, my questions that are there, and how many points are awarded for each one, etc. And then so the first thing I'm going to do is jump over into my moderate section. So there's a couple of things going on here in the moderate section that I can go through with you. So the main things, obviously, we can search. We have all our students here in the list, and we can see how many attempts that they've all done each. So we can see, for instance, myself, I've done 1 attempt, Mary's done one attempt, and Nava here has done 5 different attempts here. So what we can also see then is the scores that were given. So we can see here that, in the first attempt, he was 42, didn't do too well on the 3 middle attempts, and then we got 85 then as his final attempt. We can also see how long each quiz went on for. We can view the log in there, so I'll open that now in a second, and then we can see the accommodations. So as you can see here, there was an extra 10 minutes added for myself, an extra 15 minutes added for Sarah. If there's no extra time added, it would come as none. You can see here that Niall says +0. This is because I had given him some time and I took it away. So that's why I just went back to 0 instead of none. And what we can do then is we can go into the log and view it. That's a bad example, hold on. So we can see here for my own quiz then. So, at 0 minute, we started it. After, a couple of minutes or a couple of seconds, answered the first one, answered the second one, you can see, and you can see then there that we finished this quiz at this time and it only took 11 seconds. So hopefully that's not the real number for obviously students taking their quizzes. Just kind of give you an idea that you can go in, you can see when it started, what times they were answering the questions at, how long they spent per question, and how long they took doing the entire quiz. So that's just the different options of the moderate section inside of the quiz builder. So if I wanted to add some extra time to anybody, or we have this button here, so we want to moderate it. So let's just click on there and we can see. So here I have the option to reopen the quiz if I need to. At the minute there's 8 attempts set to this quiz, but what I can do is if I need to add some extra attempts, I can do that from here. And then, I can see here that there's a time limit of 2 minutes for this quiz. There's only something like 2 questions, 3 questions. And so there's a time limit of 2 minutes, but if I need to give additional time or remove some remove the time limit, give them an unlimited amount of time, I can do that here. So yeah, give additional time, can add them on another 5 minutes there, and we can see that's adding that on there as we go. And then to save it, just click back into the main screen and that'll save that for you there. So that's everything you need to know there. And then again, if I'm just going to bring you into one of the quizzes there for a second inside the Speedgrader. So what I'm going to do is, if this is everything inside the moderate section. So if we needed to then open it inside the Speedgrader, so we just press return up here. I'm going to go back into my gradebook here. I'm going to find the quiz. So here's the quiz here. It's our end of semester quiz. And what I can do is I can open this in my Speedgrader from here. And then using this way now, we can go in and regrade. So obviously I was doing some testing, so you can see this question's been regraded already, but just kind of give you an indication then. So, if there was, say, 1 point out of 2 points awarded here, but I actually feel like they deserve that one, I can change that to, they got the answer right, and I've given them the 2 points there. So the same thing again, there was no answer given for these, but just for instance, it was actually worth, a point, or it might have been worth 0.5 of a point or something. You can just manually adjust those grades there and update them. And now our results have been updated. So that's just how we can manually then adjust the scores. And then again, same as before, we can add some comments as needed, and I can go to the next person's and so on and so forth. We can continue that way. That's everything I wanted just to show you about your quiz submissions. The last thing then that I'm just going to run through with you very quickly is releasing your results. So I kind of just pointed this out at the very start when we were going through. So inside your gradebook, we have some options about the grade posting policy. So I'm going to go back into our settings. This is our settings for the gradebook. We have this option here for the grade posting policy. So here at the TEL department, and myself specifically, I really like to beat people over the head with this. We need to manually post the grades. If you have this set to automatically post grades, it can just cause problems when people take quizzes and they're automatically getting the results, or if you start grading people's assignments, you might do one like a couple on one evening and then the rest on another evening, and you'd have some students getting their grades and others waiting around and message asking for them. So to kind of save all that hassle, just manually post the grades is the best option there. So we want to make sure that for the whole grade book we manually post those grades, and then make sure you apply those settings if they're not already. And then the next thing that I just want to show you is for each individual assignment, then you have the option of a grade posting policy. So if I go to here and down to the last one, so I'm opening my options for that original assignment and down to the grade posting policy. And I can see then for this one assignment, I have the option to either post the grades automatically or post them manually. So, that one can be a bit more of your personal preference, but our recommendation is still always set them to manually. And then, so once everybody has their grades there and you're happy with that, all you have to do then to post your grades is just your options for this assignment, post the grades, and that will send everybody out their grades and their feedback that you have provided. So that would be our recommendation on posting your grades. Have everything set to manual so you can decide when to post them out. And once you're happy with them, then you can post them out to the students. So if anybody has any questions now, good time to ask. I'll let you put them in the chat. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to go through some of our supports as usual. So as always, we have our Canvas 24/7 support. So this is 24/7 telephone support. You can email them and submit a ticket, and usually get back to you within a day or so. And then we also have the Canvas help menu item. So this, in my opinion, is really, really helpful. So inside of Canvas, you have this help option. And so from inside here, then you can actually submit your support ticket. So you can do that here, submit a ticket to Canvas. You can call the telephone number there. You have the free phone number there, or the one that I kind of would recommend is the web chat. So if you have something quite urgent and you need help with as soon as possible, you have this Canvas support chat for staff and students. They typically will answer within 5 minutes, and they'll help you as much as they can with your query then. So that's just the Canvas supports. As always, then we have our TEL help guides. So I have the tab open. This is just our help guides here. So again, we have some for staff and for students to show you the top articles of the month there. And we have a huge variety of topics with a lot of help documents on each one. So anything that you're having issues with, it's the first stop to just write in the keyword here, see if you can find a help article that might assist with your problem. If you can't find the answer there, obviously then you can contact Canvas support, or if you need to contact ourselves, edtech@mtu.ie, you can send us a email and we'll get back to you then as soon as possible as well. The last thing then that I just wanted to show you in terms of supports is our Canvas Learn. This is our Canvas training for staff. So this was created by us here at the TEL department. If there's anything that you need to know relating to Canvas, you'll find it here. So we have all these different units, and inside the units then we've a variety of pages and interactive content to help you in whatever you kind of need to know or whatever you might want to set up. So that's just all in there ready for you. And we also have, third-party tools and additional supports. So there's loads of different sections there. We have a not to be missed section, which keep you up to date on training sessions and anything that we just think you might need to know coming up to a certain point in the semester. So yeah, as I said, we've one those for the students as well. So please do direct them to there. And if there's anything that you think could be added into the Canvas Learn, please do get in touch and let us know. We're always looking to update it. So that is everything from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the session. Thanks so much for coming along. I'm going to leave it there for another minute or two just to let the YouTube catch up and see if we have any questions coming in. But otherwise, thanks so much for coming, guys, and I'll see you at the next one. Okay, we're going to finish it up there. Thanks, Mel, everybody, for coming along. And if you're watching this later on, you have any questions, just feel free to give us a shout. Thanks, and I'll talk to you all again.